think we're running a little bit late in the schedule. So Emmett is supposed to learn Torah Oyer. But to understand the Chiddush Be'etzim of Torah Oyer, the beginning, what a Torah Oyer Alter Rebbe is Masber, what does it mean Geula al Chassidus? What's Golus al Chassidus? What's Geula al Chassidus? So really we have to learn about, I want to learn about, so we appeared with two things, one about Avos Yisrael and one about Achdus Hashem. So Avos Yisrael, Rabbi Bart covered already, Baruch Hashem. So you can say there's two chidushim of, many chidushim. One of the biggest chidushim of the Alter Rebbe is in these two sugyas. And maybe you could say, especially in the second sugya, the Mendel Rebbe writes in the Hagdam of Imrei Bina that the main kavanah of the Alter Rebbe and all the Mamorim was to reinpflanzen, to teach Chassidim what's Achdus Hashem, what's Havaya Echad. That's what Mendel Rebbe says. And the Tzemach Tzedek writes in Derech Mitzesecha, Mitzvah Achdus Hashem, Zeu Kol Chassidus. This is the whole Chassidus is, of Achdus Hashem, Lasis Ma'ani Ayin. To make from the Ich Ma'achina Ayin. As in Nishtaki Nich. This is the whole Chassidus. This is a Chassidus, this is a Kedusha. And it's clear that this is one of the biggest Chidushim of Chabad. We want to, what's Chabad? Chabad means to understand. To understand what? Number one is to understand Ve'edaita Hayyim V'asher Ve'yisol Vavecha Ki Hashem Hu Elikim V'shamayim Mal Ein Oid. That you could say is what the Chidush, the Hasbara of the Alter Rebbe in to be Ma'azber Achdus Hashem. So therefore we're going to learn a piece of Tanya, and with our order from the Rebbe, a diuk. You see in Tanya, we know that it's called Teresh B'Ksav because the Alter Rebbe was mamish medayik in every single letter. The stories that the Alter Rebbe's brother found the Alter Rebbe once he was in thought or something, and he told the Alter Rebbe, it says for 3 weeks already he's wondering to write with the vav, without a vav. And the Rebbe writes clear that it was Perek Mamal of Tanya. Reishes Avoida v'ikra v'sharsha v'ikra. You call it the ikra or v'ikra. And he says 3 weeks he's thinking already to write it with the vav, without a vav. That's what Alter Rebbe says. That's in the letters, the Friedrich Rebbe and the Rebbe. So every letter in Tanya is b'diuk. So we'll learn a piece of Tanya and a very clear diuk, and the Rebbe explains the diuk, and which this diuk of the Rebbe, how the Rebbe explains the diuk, sheds light in the whole sugya of Achdus Hashem. Just Derech Agav, there's a famous letter that the Friedrich wrote to the Rebbe. It's a long letter, it's printed in Atom, printed in the Igros Kodesh, and he says clearly that the Alter Rebbe's Mesiras Nefesh was, he went against most of his Chaverim, Talmidei HaMagid. They were against that, for the teachings of the Baal Shem Tov, the revolution of the Baal Shem Tov, to understand that it is shaykh only to tzaddikim and to go'onim and to heilige yidin, but a regular yid is not shaykh to it. Now Alter Rebbe, that was Alter Rebbe's Mulchama. No, he made it he was Mesa Nefesh, that it's a derech slula l'rabim. It's a wide path that every single yid has an ability, has a chiyuv to understand what means Achdus Hashem. This is really, and that's why it's one of the reasons why Chassidus Chabad is not for a maflega. It's not for a group, because this is a mitzvah that every is mechuyevin, and this mitzvah you have to understand this mitzvah. There's 6 mitzvahs that the chinuch writes are tzmidius. Every yid is obligated 24/7. Emunah b'Hashem, shelo yilaham b'zulot, not to believe anything else. Ava, to love Hashem. Yira, shelo yilostur acher machshavas halev v'hidur einayim. And yichud. Yichud. What does yichud mean? Liachdoi, to unify him. The other one is clear. Ava v'yira. Okay, it's an emotion. Emunah is emunah. What's liachdoi? You have to meyachad the Eibishter. What do you mean you have to meyachad him? It's a question already. The Rishonim have, the Rambam has. What means you meyachad him? He's 2 pieces. You have to make him one. So the truth is in Derech Mitzesecha, in Mitzvah Achdus Hashem, the Tzemach Tzedek explains 3 ways to explain Achdus. 1 al pi Nigla, al pi the Rambam. 1 al pi Kabbalah, and the 3rd al pi Teda, al pi called it al pi Teda Sal Baal Shem Tov. He calls it Eimek, the Lashon there, the Eimek Biyud HaBaal Shem Tov and Achdus Hashem. Al Nigla, it means, there's different Pirushim. One of the Pirushim means that the Eibusher is not, a person has to understand, the Eibusher is not Murkov. More tifer to be sheilel shituf, not the thing that the Eibishter has helpers and different koichas atava, and Chassidus takes it much deeper. What it means practically, what means shituf. Chassidus Madrigal for Abal Asik, especially for any person who wants to make any hatzlacha, if hatzlacha comes from any other tools besides the Eibishter. That's one way of learning achdus, to the opposite of shituf. That the Eibishter is the only balabas. He's the only one in control. Emunah is that there's an Eibishter. Yichud, that the Eibishter is the only one. What means the only one? He's the only one in control. No one else, nothing else. Even things that the Eibishter himself made, like Chukiyat Teva. That's what more al pi the Rambam, he says. Al pi Kabbalah, it's Yichud Hashemis. Yichud Havai Velikim. Which doesn't seem too relevant to our life. Doesn't seem. Obviously it is. Then the Chassidus Baal Shem Tov is, Asafara, not there's only one God. Not only there's only one ruler. There's only one existence. Ein oid. Pirush HaPashut. So it takes everything bepashtus. V'haf l'rech kamecha. Bepashtus. Ein oid mulvadai. Pashut. Apostolic. Ein oid. Don't on pshetlach. There's nothing besides the Eibush there. Eibush only one. What does that mean? We're here. The rule is here. Most people are wondering if the Eibush is here. Not if we're here. This is that. The Eibush is here for sure. So what does it mean? What is the Eibush only one? And this is a mitzvah you have to understand. This is a mitzvah you have to understand. And a Chassid Chabad, number one, means that something has to be different in his brain. His hashkafa is different. His hashkafa, his havana of reality has to be different. And the only way is through Pashut learning Chassidus. So that's why it's a yesod gadol to understand what Mashiach means, to understand what Chassidus Alter Rebbe means, to give the strength of a person to overcome, not being a spoil from Welt, it's only through understanding this inyan. And that's what you can say one of the main sugyas that Chassidim used to kach in was this sugya of understanding Achdus Hashem, Havaya Echad, to understand this sugya properly. So we have very little time. We're going to speak about Kitzer, Perek Chaf, and with the diuk of the Rebbe, and we'll see how this Nekuda, obviously it's a very tifa idea, but it can affect, it affects everything else. Everything Mama should affect. Perek Chaf, it's known, obviously it's the middle of a big sugya in Tanyas, but here's one piece of it. So we'll close, there's 3 places in Tanya talks about it. Shayichad ve'emunah, Tanya Perek Lamed Gimel, and Tanya Perek Chaf and Chaf Aleph. This is one of them. Perek Chaf. It's known, l'kol to everybody, ki mitzvah has haras aveda zara. The mitzvah, and which is the essa and leisa of aveda zara. Shnei dibes harashenim anechi v'layiyelecha. That's the mitzvah of anechi, avaya lekecha. Hein klalos kol ha-teira kula. This is the general rule of the whole teira. Ki dibet anechi, keil l'kol ramach mitzvah esse. V'layiyelecha, keil l'kol shal leisa. And every mitzvah, really, every time you put on tefillin, you're really saying that Eibush is the only mitzias. And anytime you hold back from an Aveda, you're saying that there's nothing else. Which Alter Rebbe will explain the 3 prakim later, which is not negated today. That's why we only heard these 2 from the Eibush himself. This is the general rule, this is the whole Torah. The Eibush gave us the whole Torah. He gave us everything. He gave us the kitzer. He gave us the nakuda of everything. Okay, this is not, we won't explain that. Understand how every mitzvah is an extension of Achdus Hashem. First you have to write bekitzer. Inyan muhus Achdus HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What does it mean, the Achdus of Hashem? Shenikra Yachid u'Meyuchad. He's the only one, he's single and the only one. He's saying he's the only one, just like before the Eibush made the world. Mamish, exactly like before the Eibush made the world. The Eibush was the only one. We say everything that you were here before creation, you're after creation. So Pirush HaPashut means the Eibush is always a nitzchi. He's always here. He's here before and he's here now. So, but Alter Rebbe is medayik the word who. What's the lashon ata who? You say ata, you were here ata nivra elam and you're mishnivra elam. So what Pirush who mamish beli shum shinui. You're the Eibush, you're here without any change. Almost nothing changed. So like he says, I think I made a mistake. I think I have a time here. The line that I'm supposed to explain from the Rebbe, I don't have.
In that bookshelf over there.
Okay. I think I'm the line that I'm. What? Mendel Shapiro. Yeah. Okay. You have to trust me. You have to look at Tanya afterward. Alter Rebbe says, 2 lines later, he says that the Eibush, you see, and the Eibush is the only one. So he says, I'm actually that like before, the Eibush was the only one. There was nothing else. Nothing else was here. So also now, nothing changed. Eibush says, Hu Lavadi, nothing. He's the only one. And the Alter Rebbe's words are, actually, you have it on the quoting, next page, on the top. Shekamoi, this is the word. This is Alter Rebbe's word in Tanya, the top 2 lines, the bold letters. Shekamoi shahayu hu levade hu yachadu miyuchad kedem hi bottom. Like the Eibush was the only one, singular, miyuchad before creation, came the same way, hu levade hu yachadu miyuchad achash bottom. He is the only one after creation. He's the only one. That's what I mean. Ani Hashem le'shenisi. That's atom mishnivra. Eibush is the only one. Like before, there was nothing here. There was no here. There was no world. There was no space. There was no time. There was nothing. So nothing changed. Maybe just only one. Okay. So the Rebbe has a very geshmak adiyah here. Look at the words here. Shekamoisha hu lavade hu yachad miyuchat koidem hi bottom with a hey. Koidem hi bottom. Kain hu lavade achashev bottom. A hey and a shin. But hey and a shin is a big difference. First of all, what does it mean? He bottom means they were created. She bottom means that he created them. So either the Alter Rebbe should say, he bottom, kain hu lavade achashe he bottom, or kamoisha hu lavade kaidem she bottom, can achashe bottom. Now it's not only 2 different words; it's 2 different machlal havonis. Because be'etzem, there's 2 psukim about creation. There's one pasuk is Bereishis Bora Elikim. Bora means the Eibishter created the world. Eibishter is involved. Bora. Then there's a pasuk Yehalu Hashem Hashem Ki Hu Tziva V'Nivro. They were created. Which is mashma b'derech memela, automatically. So here you're saying, so you see that there's two different inyanim. You have Beish's Bora and Vinivro, and they were created. So first of all, what does it mean they were created? They were created. The Eibush Zicha made the world. Also you say Baruch She'amar V'Haya Ilam Sigevoren b'derech memela. First of all, what does it mean b'derech memela? And second of all, which one is it? So we have mamash a few minutes. The kitzur. This is a very, very big sugya in Chassidus, which halavai I would know the whole thing. There's a big sugya. There's a lot of mamorim. I can't just make different biurim. We're going to try to give one biur more closely how it applies to this Perek Tanya. And it's you see from the Rebbe how the Rebbe is medayik in a hey and a shin, but this hey and a shin is a whole million dikavert. What's takat of pshat? You say Bereishis Bora Elikim. The Eibishter Bora, he created the world. Which Bora means he slapshus, he got involved. Or Vinivro, what means they were created? You see right away clear, 2 different shemus. Here, Bereishis Bora, Elikim. Yahalu Shem Havaya. So here you're saying Elikim, here you're saying Havaya. So in other words, there's 2 perspectives of creation. There's a perspective of Shem Elikim, then there's Bora. Perspective of Shem Havaya is Vinivro. So Bekitzer, there's one more from the Rebbe on this. Obviously, we know it says Basarama Moris Nivroilam. The Eibishter got it. Eibishter Bereishis Bora. He created the world. Pashat. Every Yid knows the Eibishter created the world. Bora. But then, see, everything by a person, lahavdil, kaviyachol, starts with rotzen. The first thing is, you have to have all bertzeine. You want it. I want it. You have a plan. Once you want it, then you do it. By the Eibush, so by us, okay, a person wants to go somewhere, he wants to build something, okay, can't from Heim bis Morgen, you could want. After you want, then you have to go and have the money and work hard and get the material and then go build it. But the Eibush also had a rotzen. Alter Rebbe. By the Eibush, what's the lashon? When the Eibush wants something, so right away he gets it already. Because why shouldn't he get it? Everything comes from him. There is no, and if he doesn't have it, where else should he get it from? So the Eibush is a makkah for everything. So he is the only, by us, how do we have things? You want a table? Go to the lumber, get wood. You want a house? Get cement, get money. There are things outside you that you depend on. The Eibush, everything comes from the Eibush. So the second the Eibush, so that's therefore the only siba, the only what's mechayev, what brings creation is only the Eibush. By us, what brings the table is your rotzen, and then the material. But the Eibush, he is the only siba for creation. There's nothing else. Therefore, the lashon in Kabbalah is miyad kisha b'tzeina miyad nishavu. When the Eibush vilepes is gleich faran, it's there right away already. Right away, it's there already. In the Eibush, it's there already. Right away, it's there. In the words of Chassidus, it is by us koyach chaser poyol. When we have a potential, an ability, we're lacking the actuality. You have an ability to build a beautiful building, to make a beautiful table. But you don't have a table. You'll have a table when you go and you get wood and you make a table. So only when you have poyol mamish, a table, you have a table. So the mile of sitting by a table until you can learn and you can eat, v'chulu, you only have when you actually get a table. When the poyol mamish, you get a table. By the Eibush, the lashon Chassidus says, "Ein koyach chaser poyol." The Eibush, he has a koyach for something. It's gleich faran. It's not lacking the poyol mamish. So in other words, the mile of this thing that he wants, that mile he has right away of it. That's right away. And the chanami, it's not a poyol mamish thing that we could experience, but the actual thing is here already, in the Eibishter, in his machshav, in him, it's there already. Now, what the Eibishter do, he took it from that level and he was megalit in a physical level. It's like a person, it's like you have a picture in your head, and from your head you're taking it out. It's because there already. So it's there already inside of you. Elamai, it's in the Eibishter's world, Kaviyachol. So now it should be in the Gashmizik level, we're seeing very closed. So it has to come out in a practical level. So, but it starts in Hashem. So in the level of Ratzin, the Ratzin itself right away brings it. Miyad nishavu, it comes out right away. There's a different way of explaining in Chassidus. The chilik of machshava v'dibur. We have in the Mishnah, it says in the Mishnah, Ba'asara ma'amaris nivra elam, ba'ali b'mayim echad yochel lihi baris. So what does it mean? What does it mean? He could have. In the Mishnah, what's there is there's two levels of creation. The level of Basara Mamoris, Nivra Ho'ilam, creation, involvement, Hislapshus. The higher level is, what's the higher level? No, not Hislapshus. But Ma'im Echad Yochel, Yechoilis. The Eibishter has a Yechoilis. And beside his Yechoilis, so there, he doesn't deal with the details. It's all part of once he wants it, he has it already. There was a chassid, a big chassid at Datz. So once he said, how geschmack would be the world if it would only come from Mayim Echad. You'll see all the course. We'll be walking around. Walking around the Eibish's Kaviyachal Machshava. So if you want to put it in more general terms that you learn in Chassidus, there's Mimala Kalam and Sevav Kalam. How the Eibishter he gets involved in every Nivra, Lefi the Nivra, because he's dealing with the Nivra. Sevav Kalam is the Eibishter is infinite. The Eibishter is Bli Gvul, Shem Havaya, Yutke Vavke, and that Eibishter is everywhere equally. In other words, not he's coming to us, we're more part of him. In other words, of Chassidus, it's called Amal Chassidus, the words of Oir V'Koyach. What does Koyach mean? Koyach means you have a Koyach. You have a Koyach to write. Okay? You have a Koyach, you're not writing it. Now go and write. You have a Koyach to throw. You have a Koyach even to learn. A koyach means koyach in yonei lifel. The function of a koyach is to be functional. You have to go do it. Or that's why koyach is not lefi hamakar. It's not lefi hamakar the koyach. You can maybe throw very far. Now you're only throwing 10 feet. Or is b'derech memela. Automatically. When there's a mo'ir, automatically there's a oir. And that's why the oir is very bright. That's why I can see them. I see the oil. I see light. I know if it's a sunlight or a moonlight or a flashlight. Why? Because if the moyer would do something to give out oil, so then it wouldn't be oil. It wouldn't have the brightness of the moyer, because the moyer stayed in his reality, and out of his reality the oil came out. So the oil will be just like the moyer. In practical words, you want to have an example. Everyone knows. Every parent knows. That Mechanech knows there are two ways of getting your child to daven. One way is you're there and you're on his head and you tell him daven, daven. You're working with him. You're giving him a prize. You're inspiring him. You're teaching him. You're mourning from him. So you're dealing with him. You're involved. You're mislabish. You're dealing with him. The other way is it could be you'll get him to daven, but he'll daven how much you gave him. But the other way is that the father daven is like a chassid, and he has a geschmack in it. And he's not thinking about someone else. He's not supposed to think about someone else. He's davening himself. What's the word? So automatically, what comes out? He sees geschmack azach, edel azach. He sees a higher thing. He sees lichtigkeit. What's lichtigkeit? He sees how you're davening. It says Chassidus how a person is mispof matfilas tzaddik. So he's not being mislabish there. He's not dealing with you there. He's staying in his own world, and it's coming out who he is. Milayim ziv umefikim nega, because if he is full of ziv, so automatically the shemesh is meifik nega. If you would be busy giving, so then okay, you're going away from yourself. You're getting involved in him, but you're not expressing who you are. So, but these are the two levels of that's the chiluk. So it says Shema Lekim. What does it say in Shulchan Aruch? Shema Lekim is Bal HaKoiches. The Eibishter, yes, Lekel Yodi. Lekim is the Eibishter is powerful. The Eibishter could do things. He could affect things. He could make things. He's Bal HaKoiches V'Yecheles. The Eibishter can make a welt. Shema Vayez Yudke Vavke Hoya Hoya V'Yek Maila Mazman LaMaila Ma'amok. Not the Eibishter is here. There's no concept of here, but there's no here, there's no there. Not the Eibishter is here. You can say here is in the Eibishter. The whole music of here and time and place, it's all swallowed in the Eibishter. So we have these two levels. We have Oir, V'Koyach, Seiv, Memale, Machshava, V'Dibur, Maimer Echad, Asara Mamoris. Many, you have all these two thing levels, Rotzen and Dibur. What happened with Poyel? They both happened, obviously. First was all about Tzaynoi. First was a Rotzen of Hashem. And that Rotzen of Hashem, B'derech. So when we say about that, by Hashem, remember, by Shemesh, the Shemesh has no Bechira. The Shemesh doesn't know what he's doing. But the Eibush, Chas v'shol, he knows it's all B'der Tzaynoi. But in other words, in which way he's dealing with you, he's staying who he is. And he's looking on you from his perspective. He's creating you while he's staying who he is. Mash'enkein, Memalek Kolamin, or called Malchus, a Melech Beloy Am. He's dealing with you. He's being mislabish with you. He's coming to you. So how much do you, in Memalek Kolam, how much do we have Hashem? Depends. Are you a rock? You have very little. Are you a plant? You have a little more. Are you an animal? You have more. Are you a person? You have more. Are you a son of the moon? You have more. Are you a malach? You have more. What? Yeah, but how much if you want Mamalek Kolam, how much Chayis Eliki you have? Depends according to how much you're a Keli. How much you're a Keli. Mamalek Kolam. Why is it if it's Gvul? If it would be infinite, if infinite, Chassidus says, how could you contain B'li Gvul?
Otherwise, you was dividing your infinite.
Who's in the Pashas Mamalek Kolam is not infinite. Mamalek Kolam is Eibishter. Kavichel took a step at it. The Eibishter is Magbil himself. Now you're saying you're Soiviv. How much do you have Eibishter Soiviv? What do you mean? Less Asar Ponim Mineh. You can never leave the Eibishter. So we're all in the Eibishter. How much? B'li Gvul. Seiv Kolam, we have B'li Gvul. We're all in the B'li Gvul of Hashem. Not so. Say what's the Lashon? Eibishter. Where could I find you? Where can't I find you? Where you know. Everything has the Eibishter Lefi Erkoi, and it has the Eibishter B'li Gvul. But that's the chiluk of Yahalu. That's the chiluk of Yahalu Shem Avaya Ki Hutzil V'Nivro. First the Eibishter V'Nivro B'derech HaMeila. Then was Bereshis Bora Lekim Bora his slapshus involvement creation. That's what the Rebbe is saying here. The Chiddush here.
The meters are going to start now. Anyone needs quarters, you don't have to pay more money for the city. 2 hours, you can have up to 2 hours. I'm talking per
It's not even Mamalik Alami.
This is Mamala.
Now, so now the Rebbe is saying so that's the Rebbe is saying that's a two lashonos. That's a two lashonos of he borom and she borom. He bought. Now the chiddush of the Rebbe here is now I think there are different biurim chiddush. There are some biurim chiddush says this is the chilik of Havaya Echad and Baruch Shem. Shema Yisrael Havaya Lekeinu Havaya Echad. The Eibush only one. Echad. He's the only one. Eidos of Welt, but then a Chamele. The Eibush there doesn't deal with you as you. He's bleak fully. You have you also. It's all part of him. Baruch Shem Kavay Malchusei Leilam Vod. The Shem Kavay Malchus. That's two different levels. Looks like here the Rebbe is saying even deeper. The Chassidus says even his habas b'derech memela, it's called creation b'derech memela. You're right. It's not his slapshus. It's not involvement of it's epis. It's epis. It's Alter Rebbe. It's something. It doesn't express. It doesn't bring out the ultimate actus Hashem. It doesn't bring out the Eibush as the only one. That's what I think. So where was the ultimate actus Hashem? Koidem he bottom. Even before his havas b'derech memele. That was the ultimate. That's the ultimate actus Hashem. But the Alter Rebbe is saying it's like those actus Hashem koidem he bottom before his havas b'derech memele. So the same way you have ach Hashem even after these havas Hashem elikim of the practical poyol mamash of the world. The reality is, not only didn't it change from before Elikim, we didn't change from before Havaya. Achos means that the Rebbe is saying we're taking both extremes there. Like, you understand, Koidem Sha'ala Bertzainai. The Eibush was the only one. There wasn't even Allah Bertzainai, it was only him. The same thing is now. Not only after he bought him, but even after She bought him, after his slapshus, after Shem Elikim, after Poyol Mamish, even there, reality didn't change. Why? You have to learn two Prakim Tanya. You have to learn a lot. We're not explaining why, because basically because these Havas never left the Eibush there. These Havas only Ha'ara Ba'alma. There's a whole. We have to learn Tanya for that. Two Prakim Tanya. That you have to learn. But this is Alter Rebbe trying to say. The Rebbe is medayik and Tanya. Let's look inside. Yesh leimer. Al pia yudua be'in ha'hefesh be'in bora lenivra. Shebora meira lislapshus. Shows any slapshus keich ha'peil benifel. Shemitzad zeh nasi is havas bepoil. That brings his havas bepoil. Mechina mitzias. Yet, why are we a mitzias? Because the Eibishter made us a mitzias. Because he made it even of his slapshus. Nivra meis havas shederech lemeila. He's having Mishum Tzad Hashem Avaya. With Tzad Hashem Avaya, there was ain't a Mechina Metzias Mamish. He's saying ain't a Metzias Mamish. V'zeu Shemedayik Admur Hazokin Min HaKotz El HaKotz from extreme to extreme. Shekamoi Shahayahu Levadehu Yachadum. You like before Kaidem he bought him. Hainu means Kaidem the level of Nivra, not only for the level of Bora. So you understand there. Everyone understand there was nothing else. It wasn't even Allah Bert say. It was only the Eibush there. Hu levade ve'ein zula say. K in the same way. Hu levade hu yachudum yuchad achashe boram. Ashagam achri abriya. Shemitzad shem elikim. Pchina bora should be his slapshus. Even after all that, the bora should be slapshus. Still, reality didn't change. L'gabi us it's bora. L'gabi be'emes didn't change. Still, the Eibush is Yachud Yuchad. He's the only one. Nothing changed. Okay, we have to finish already. This is just not, you can't even say it's a tip of the iceberg. This is Eflon Peik Chaf Aleph, Anasha Yichud Ve'emuna. And if you could say this is what the Alter Rebbe number one wanted, that a chassid should be different in his head. Something should change. He should think differently. I mean, obviously, this is Heicha Madregas, obviously. But you have a much lower Madregas. But the Nakuda is to understand what's real. All the issues of a person's life. All the issues of Avodas Hashem, Chassidus comes from, Chassidus says, because you're making something which is not real, very real. You're making a fuss out of nothing. Therefore, all Zicher, we can't feel this. The Alter Rebbe, they asked the Alter Rebbe, when he's speaking all these Heichen Yonim. Alter Rebbe says, V'yadaita hayoim. Now you have to know this and understand this. V'yadaita, you have to know this very, very clear. Hayoim, you have to know. Lost love already. Lost love. He brought a different part. It says in the pasuk, "Basiresi leva evim mipsarchim." Maybe we should take away the heart of stone. The heart of stone, that would be lost love. But the mind of stone does happen. Now that's what we have to do now. To verstehen, to understand, we have to understand now. And not only to understand, and this is then you understand what geula means. Like it says in Torah, or geula means that this is revealed. And one small thing we speak about. Being a chos, you speak about Kulos Mitzrayim. Everyone, why were you speaking about Chassidus Tanya for yahrtzeit, the Alter Rebbe? What was the point? Saying was Mitzvah Mitzrayim. Why was this one point to be Moshe Rabbeinu? The Rebbe couldn't make Geula without Moshe Rabbeinu. Make the Nisim, kill Pari. The point is, says in the Chassidus, brought up in the Zohar, Moshe Rabbeinu was a teacher. What was Moshe Rabbeinu teaching? He was teaching Achdus Hashem. That's what he was teaching. Like they say, you know, you could take a Yid out of Mitzrayim, take Mitzrayim out of Yid, is a whole that you need a teacher for. That's what the Rebbe was doing. A Rebbe teaches Chassidus, and teaches Chassidus that as a plagen. It should be a click here. So finish with last name Mamish. And after a person learns using Yanim, then he could be Mizboinen. Then you could when we see his bonus. So there's a Chassid. His name was Pesach Malastovker. He said once. They asked him. Someone asked him, not a chassid. This is the whole. They say all the jokes, all the verter chassidim, not chassidim. Where the chassid met the rav, then the other rav, and the rav he saw the rav was sad. So he asked, why are you sad? So he goes, for 30 years I'm trying to make up a chiddush, what should be epis ados. You know, it's a serious chiddush ados. And it says nish das. It's not. Nothing came out good. So the chassid said, for 30 years I'm trying to get rid of the das, and you want to make a das. So this was the whole sugya of Chassidus. This is the sugya of Gilui Lakus. So the Pesach said, what's the chilik between a behemoth and a person? And I am Gashmim, a behemoth and a person see the exact same thing, same color, they see exactly the same thing. But a behemoth goes on the floor, sees a piece of gold, gives it a kick. Gives it a kick. Varnish. A person takes it, grabs it. So he said, you're going to say, it says, in an ayim gashmim, gold looks the same by a person and an animal. So you're going to say, it looks the same. After a person sees a piece of gold, he runs home. I saw gold. What does gold mean? Gold means precious. I can make money. He runs back and gets it. No. Even though, how do you know gold is precious? Comes from your einei haseichel, not from your einei basar. Comes from your seichel. But it's so mu'umas by you, it's so real by you, it's so clear by you, the tayarkeit of gold, that when you actually see gold, the einei haseichel affected the einei basar, that's what you lechatchila see. Lechatchila you see a tayar thing. And when something is so clear to you in your seichel, so even your reactions, your perspective is different. Because what I did, a person can learn a lot of chassidus. Can know a lot of chassidus. Can know a ton of things. You know, a person could the sefer knows chassidus, the iPod knows chassidus, and my brain can know chassidus. But it has to be how you look on things. It has to be your perspective, and that's why after a learned person learns, you can have his bonus means that this has to become how our reactions, how we see things. When we see a davar gashmi or anything we see, it has to be the first thing is why is the Eibishter making it? Even the lowest level. Why is the Eivish? What's the kavanah l'kis of it? So then our perspective, that's the real hachana. One of the real hachanas for geula, because geula means that this at v'nigla k'vod Hashem v'ro kol basa yachtav we will be revealed and see kipi Hashem diber. That what is the world Eivish. Okay, listen.
We take a 3-minute break and have a shot.